would you say if I told you that pretty much everyone you know, in every relationship, every sales transaction, every encounter, is asking the same question? It's the same question at heart. Sometimes it's verbalized, why do I care? But the question they're really asking deeply is, and sometimes subconsciously, they really don't know they're asking the question, but they're waiting to hear the answer anyway. What's in it for me? You can go back to your high school dating relationships. Do you want to be my girlfriend? Do you want to be my boyfriend? Going steady. However you want to label that. The question was always in the back of the mind of the person who was receiving the request. What's in it for me? Dinner and a movie? Hanging out together at the skate park? Playing video games at my place? Whatever the answer to that next question is, what's in it for me? It really did make all the difference as to whether or not the next step happened, whether the next relationship encounter happened, whether the next level of transaction happened. But everybody at all levels, husbands and wives, buyers and sellers, clients and service providers, manufacturers, even in the depth of those business-to-business relationships, the question is still being asked, what's in it for me? I mean, I already buy widgets from this company. Why would I want to buy the same widget from your company? Is the price better? Is the product better? Is the service better? Will I get it on time every time? Will they last longer? Those are the questions that are disguised in, what's in it for me? And believe it or not, when you're a leader, the way that you connect with people through the conversations in the hallway, the emails that you send, the notification from the CEO of a town hall meeting, all of those ways of relating and communicating to your constituents, to your employees, to your team. On the other side of that sits the same question. What's in it for me? So we have a new benefits package. What's in it for me? So we have a new schedule for work. What's in it for me? And we kind of know this, but we're not always intentional about preparing ourselves to answer that question. I mean, it's real easy when you say, we've got to find the win-win. We've got to be able to identify how the employee wins if we change the work schedule and everybody's lunch goes to 30 minutes. Well, what's the good part of that for the employee? Are we just getting more time out of them? Or do they get off earlier? Or do they come in later? Or how does this manipulation of the work schedule, how does it benefit them? And we know intuitively that if there is no positive benefit, that the buy-in is going to be really low. We know that if we're selling ourselves as a service provider or selling our widgets or our project or our company to someone else, even just selling our vision and our ideas to get buy-in from others, the question is still, what's in it for me? What will be the end result that will make it worth me investing my time, my emotion, my energy, my money into your idea? If I'm going to give something to you from one of those categories, I expect to get something in return. So what will I get in return? Now, Learn to Roar leadership philosophy is really anchored around that concept, because in the years that I've been studying leadership and communication skills, it's a big drought in the question. There's the manipulative sales language and the perfect scripting on the website and the perfect scripting in the sales pitches that cause what we would call the hunger or the thirst, that cause someone to want the product by pointing out their pain, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of manipulation in that, and there's a lot of coercion in that, and there's a lot of good psychology in that. But ultimately, the client still comes back to the same thing. What's in it for me? Why would I hire you as a speaker? Why would I hire you as the trainer? Why would I bring you in to teach this class? Why would I want to finish my homework on time? What's in it for me? And it's almost as if we were to say, is it better to have the carrot or the stick? Do you want the attractive something that everyone wants as the answer to what's in it for me? Or do you want the, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen bad as the what's in it for me? And the truth is, oftentimes you have to have both. This is the benefit of engaging in this relationship with me, completing this transaction with me, buying this product or service from me, attending class on time with me. Because if you don't attend class on time, then you're going to go to the principal's office. That's the stick. If you do attend class on time, perhaps all of the questions to the test will already be on the board when you walk in for the first 5 minutes. You have a chance to memorize them, but after 5 minutes, I erase them all. So if you're late for class, you simply won't know. That's the carrot. Just an idea. But in the relationship, the husband and wife relationship, the parent-child relationship, the dating relationship, the politician to constituent relationship, the CEO, manager, or leader to employee or team relationship, in every one of those relationships, both sides are asking the same question. Why do I care? What's in it for me? And the truth is, if you don't answer that question, you lose. You'll lose the transaction. You'll lose the relationship. You lose the opportunity to serve. You just lose. So what does it mean to answer the question on a consistent basis, what's in it for me? Well, really the only way you can do that is to be relevant. And by that I mean to be relatable, respectable, respectful, and resonate. And when you do those four things, when you're relatable, that means you're the kind of person that other people want to know, like, and trust. When you're respectful, you present yourself, your product, your service, your ideas, your invitation to a relationship as something that's framed based on what's important to the individual before you even start. I know you've all encountered the salesperson or the presenter or the leader who comes at you with their offer, and it's kind of a product vomit. It's a dump of everything that they've accomplished and done. It's their full-blown resume. It's the reviews and stats of all the completed projects that they've done, et cetera, et cetera. And while they're offering all of this to you, they have not yet asked the question, what do you want? They've never said, how could I best serve you? What would be the best thing for you? How would you define that? And if they did, many of them asked that question, and they might have even feigned writing notes, but many times, not all the time, but many times, they ask that question, they feign writing notes, and they move to the next level with a pre-written answer without regard for what your question was. Well, I've been in those sales calls on both sides where organizations have told me, ask the question here, but their answer isn't really relevant because this is the next question and that's the one you really need the answer to. And I think to myself, that's not a sales call script. That's a bully pulpit. And those are different. Because the sales call script is based on genuinely curious questions and answering those genuinely curious questions with a valid solution. What is the pain that you have in this area? How could anything that I offer solve that problem or answer that pain or provide that solution? And if I have anything to offer you, can I match those things up? That being relatable asks the question, do you even like the who that I am? Because going forward in our relationship, whether it's a dating relationship, a spouse relationship, or a client-provider relationship, if you don't like me, the whole thing's going to be hard. And honestly, life is too short for that. If you don't like my style or my male pattern baldness or my freckles, then just say so. There are plenty of people that do what I do, and there are plenty of clients like you, and we can just move on and both be happy. There's no point in straining ourselves to have a relationship that's already out of whack. I'm okay with that. And I think for someone to be in that place where they've learned to roar, that relevant place, is to be relatable, but it's also to be respectful. I respect that not everybody's going to like me. I respect that not everybody appreciates my learning style. And I also respect that John Maxwell said it this way. He said, understand there are a lot of people who do what I do in a similar way. But nobody does what I do exactly the way that I do it. That's why there are close to 10,000 John Maxwell coaches around the world. From every walk of life, from every experiential background, from every level of education. If you want to hear John Maxwell content, if you want to be taught John Maxwell leadership, there's 11,000, close to 11,000, between 10 and 11,000 ways to get that. Not to mention John himself. There are plenty of ways to get your hands at that content. And if I don't click with you, I'm okay with that. And you should be too. And when you're providing that service for a client, when you're offering yourself as the service provider or the product provider, and you understand that I'm not going to be a perfect match for everybody, it sure relieves a lot of stress and strain from your sales call close process to know I can walk away from this because I'm not going to put myself in an emotional, stressful relationship just to deliver the product, just to collect a little paycheck. When it's going to burn me out on the inside, it's going to wear me out emotionally, it's going to stress me out mentally. You can't pay me enough for that. It's just not worth it. Life is too short, and other people do like the way I do business. They do like the way I talk. They do like the way I communicate, and I'm okay with that. And I challenge you to do the same. If you're leading an organization and there are one or two people that you just have tried hard to click with and it's not working, let it go. Let someone else lead them. Delegate someone to work with them. If you're being hired to speak or to train on the stage and you can't respect the people that have hired you to train, let somebody else take care of that. Let somebody else teach or train them. Don't feel like you've got to get the paycheck and win the award. Because at the end of the day, they're still asking the same question. Who cares? And what's in it for me? If you can't be relatable and respectful of their ideas, their wants, their wishes, their styles, their faith, their education, their background, you're going to lose them. And in the end, you may get paid, but you won't help them. And if you get paid and you don't help them, you won't get referred. So what good was that? Next, you have to be respectable. If you're going to be respectable, you've got to know your stuff. You've got to be in your space. You've got to be talking about what you've researched, what you've studied, what you've experienced, what you know well. And you've got to be able to position yourself in a way that people look at you and go, that's somebody I could look up to. I could listen to them talk. I could follow their ideas and their leadership style. I could engage in that relationship in spite of all their strange quirks. I think I was in high school the first time someone told me, her name was Sharon. She said, I don't love you because of anything, because you live in a big house or because you drive an antique car. I don't love you because of any of those things. So if all of those things went away, it would be okay. I love you in spite of all of those things and all of your flaws. Now, I don't know where she got that kind of wisdom at 16 years old, but it has stuck with me. And I married a woman who holds the same values. 23 years we've been married because she doesn't love me because of anything. She loves me in spite of everything. Being respectable means doing the best that you can to be lovable, to be trustworthy, to be honorable, to be the kind of person that other people can look at and go, okay, not perfect, has some flaws, but I can live with those flaws compared to everything else that is in it for me. That's a big deal. And finally, resonance. When we talk about learn to roar under the category of relevant, who cares and what's in it for me are the question everybody is asking. And resonance is the place where it either happens or it doesn't. It's where your nature, your tendency, your way of doing things, your style either clicks with people or it doesn't. If you resonate with them, things can be incredible. If you don't resonate with them, things are always going to feel like that one wheel on your car that's actually a triangle. It's going to be a little slow going. It's going to be a little bumpy. It's going to be a little out of rhythm. And every now and then you'll hit a flat spot in your relationship because that's what triangles do. That's why we make wheels out of circles, because they move smoother. That resonance, being on the same frequency, on the same page, having the same shared core values, having the same level of importance for people and animals and life. When all of those things are on an even kilter with you and the people that you work around, the people that you serve, the people that you date, the people that you hang out with, when all of those are of similar level of importance, you resonate. You ever dated someone whose hobbies were entirely different? I mean, one of you loved football and the other one despised it. One of you hated hockey and the other one loved it. I mean, those are minor things. I couldn't date someone who's allergic to seafood. I love seafood. If we couldn't have fish in the house, that would be a problem for me. If we could never go to Red Lobster, that would be a problem for me. It wouldn't always be a problem. But on those fancy date nights, I like to go to a place like Red Lobster or Truluck's, and seafood is what they serve. It'd be hard to date someone who doesn't like seafood or is allergic to it. But that's a choice that you make. That's resonance. Do we get along in the simple things? I heard a phrase, it's been many, many years since I heard it, and it's actually played out in my life in a different way, but still very true. That is, if you can sit around each other for 20 or 30 minutes and not say anything and still feel comfortable in each other's presence, you got a pretty solid relationship. That's been replaced, sadly enough, in recent years with people who can sit around 5, 10, 12 at a time in a crowd and they feel like they're hanging out together, but everybody's on their phones and they're not relating to each other at all. For me, it's a little different because I have a wife who says about 8 words a year. And so when I'm done talking for the day, when I'm all spent and I just want to watch and observe people or listen or whatever, read a book, we can sit in the same room on the couch and snuggle together and both read 2 entirely different books and never say a word to each other until we come across something that's worth sharing with the other. It's worked for over 20 years. You got to be able to resonate. Share the same values. Find those things that are important to you that are also important to them. Why? Because they're still asking the question, who cares? What's in it for me? Ask yourself this question as you go through the course of the day. Just a little test to see if everything I've said this morning is worth hearing. Here's your test. The next time somebody walks up to you with their phone, and maybe you're sitting around in a classroom or hanging out together over coffee or you're on your lunch break, and they're scrolling through their social media timeline and they find something they think is funny. And they do the old, look what I found. Yes, we all do it. When they hold that up to you, try not to think to yourself, what's in it for me? Who cares? Why do I care? See if that's not already going through your subconscious mind, because somewhere you're asking yourself, this is an interruption of me looking at my timeline. Yes, it's on your timeline. It's probably on my timeline too, if you'll give me a minute to get to it. Why do I care to interrupt what I'm doing to look at what you're doing? I'm willing to bet that's kind of deep-seated in your nature, even if you're trying to ignore it, because I find myself doing the same thing. This is an interruption, and that's an interruption to my interruption. Why do I care to look at your meme, your picture, your stat, your whatever you found? Why do I care? What's in it for me? I think you'll find that that's our human nature. I think you'll find you do it a lot more than you think you do. And part of my purpose for this training today is to raise the level of awareness for you as you ask that question, what's in it for me? To dig a little deeper and ask, maybe the other person's asking the same thing. Is there a chance they're asking, why do I care? What's in it for me? And they're still waiting on that answer from you. Have you resonated with them? Are you respectable? Are you respectful? And are you relatable? You're beginning to learn to roar. Continue on that path. I am J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.